Welcome to another edition of the Untitled Film Project Podcast, because all the other names were taken. I am your host, Jim Chandler, along with
Justin Bradford,
Jeremy K. Gover.
And today we are talking about Jurassic World Dominion, the supposedly last film in the franchise. That brings us to a point that we came to from the previous movie where dinosaurs are running amok in the modern world. And when they're tired, they walk amok, or fly amok, or swim amok.
Oh my gosh, being in the theater and some of the campiness, the cliches, the plot holes, you're gonna figure out really quick, I did not enjoy this as much as I wanted it to. For it being the final, supposedly, episode of the Jurassic Park series, could be like Fast and Furious and go on and on and
Yes.
on. I was expecting a little bit more closure. I was expecting a little more dino battles, or just dinosaurs in general, and not frickin' locusts being the focal point of the movie. But I was expecting
They
many
were dino locusts. I mean,
genetically modified dino
in
locusts.
fairness.
They were just bigger.
In fairness, look at Gover trying. He's
like,
trying to be fair here.
Honey, I Shrunk the Wheat Field.
Oh my
They
God.
were just bigger locusts.
But just it was long. It was also a very long movie. It was so long that I actually gave my wife like a headache and put her in a bad mood because the expectation was like, oh, the fun the dinosaur movie, like the first Jurassic Park, even Jurassic World 1. I think it was a good turn your brain off, enjoy dinosaur movie because things are going to go wrong.
Sure.
Because of course, that's what this is about, right?
That's why we came.
For me, even turning my brain off, I could not turn it off enough to fully enjoy this film because of all the things they forced into it. A forced nostalgia, a forced cliches, a forced so many things just to make it work. That's why I didn't enjoy it. I mean, the one that made me go, come on, was when the T-Rex was walking into the circle and the shadow with its mouth open, and all of a sudden it's the logo. It's like when you say the name of the movie in the script, just to kind of put it in there. It's like, we snuck it in. This was no sneak. There was no sneaking about this. It was like, you know what? I have a great idea. Let's put the logo in the movie and have the T-Rex perfectly place its head in the shadow of the circle.
Just a moment.
And stop. Yeah. Just right there. Like, that's one of the many things of the problems I had with this. And I know people enjoyed it, and there were some things that I liked, but there was so much forced stuff in this that made me tune out instead of immerse myself into a fun dino flick.
Justin Bradford is disappointed. Jeremy K. Gover, your quick take on Jurassic World Dominion.
I did not have a good time.
Oh, thank God. We agree. What do you know?
That's my quick take.
It was not a fun movie in any way? Or did you come out angry with the film?
No, I wouldn't say angry. But I went in with the bar low. I thought, okay,
You weren't expecting much.
it's just a summer blockbuster popcorn movie. Bradford used the term earlier, turn your brain off. That's what I thought. Okay.
Sure.
But it forced me to use my brain. That's the problem.
Damn you, movie, using my brain.
I don't mean that in a good way. It was convoluted.
The plot was a mess, yes.
It was dialogue driven.
Yes.
So every scene, there seemed to be some sort of new caveat to the plot. And I'm like, really? Are we just going to go back and forth? And it was so aggravating. And then I will say, this is not the perfect place for this topic, but I'm going to bring it up anyway because I don't want to forget it. Because it really drove me crazy. Like, I literally left the theater thinking about how bad it was.
Oh, my God.
Laura Dern shows up, and she's had work done, and that's fine. She looks great.
She looks great, yeah.
But when she shows up, she takes her glasses off in that Spielberg-esque. It's not Spielberg movie, by the way, to make that very clear. It's very obvious it's not. But,
it's more CSI Miami, take your sunglasses off.
Right, but it's that Spielberg-esque, Jurassic Park-esque, I'm going to crookedly remove the glasses off my face because I'm astonished at what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Thing, and it was about the field, right? So she does that, and it shocked me how older she looks, but that's only because I hadn't seen her in anything other than, like, what was the...
Star Wars?
Yeah, other than that. But it was like, okay, whatever. Right? So then, but here's where it gets me. So she goes to see Dr. Grant at his place, okay?
Yep.
And she walks in, and their very first line, other than their names, which, by the way, was also cheesy, was she goes, Dr. Grant, you look the same. and then he doesn't return the compliment, and it just reinforces.
Oh man,
How
Gover.
rude.
It was horrible. It set her up to look terrible. So if you didn't think so before, here's this moment where the filmmakers are like, put it in. Let's
Yeah.
not say you look great back or it's good to see anything.
She's probably
It's-
losing sleep after seeing the final edit.
The fact that he picked up on that, though, this shows too how dialogue-driven it was, Gover. Like that stuck out to you, and
I left the theater thinking about it.
And that
I was like,
that
how do you
early.
hang one of your stars out to dry like that?
But that was early in the film too, and that stayed with you through all
And it's
the other mess.
And it's a wide shot, by the way. They easily could have had him dub in something like "You look great," or even
You
kind of
too.
a nervous look like "She looks good too," or something under his breath, anything that would have been. But instead, it was like
How's divorce going?
It was instead it was you look the same, and then nothing from him, and I was like, wow.
Rudest moment in this year's
In
film
Jurassic
history.
dinosaur
Okay.
film history.
All right.
Jim, you saw it before the two of us did. I just remember you texting me. What I want to know what your thoughts on this was, and if you're in the same boat.
The
as-
movie is
as
a
us.
mess.
Okay.
The movie is a mess. At times, I really enjoyed the thrill ride aspect of it, but there are way too many things going on here. We've got the reunion of the original cast, which the chemistry, I think, is still there, even though it was a bit rushed. We have, Laura Dern and Sam Neill. They meet up with Malcolm, who's working for BioSyn, this evil tech company.
You mean
And-
Apple?
Apple.
That's what it looked like. The dude looked like he's
He totally had a Tim Cook vibe going on, and they did it well. So they've got this thing, and Laura Dern's character, Dr. Sadler, is smart enough to learn that somebody has genetically modified locusts to eat the crops of the world, holding the world's food supply in total peril. But she's not smart enough to put on a seatbelt in the Jeep which she's about to roll over in. I'm like, how can you be that smart and that you're the smartest person in the world? You're the dumbest person in the world.
To be fair, there's a lot of people that are like that. Really smart, dumb people.
That's true.
And really dumb, smart people.
I
mean, we see it a lot in just normal society.
So that was the most realistic part of the movie. Yeah, probably.
Absolutely was.
I will say I am a mild fan of the Jurassic World franchise, which is also running concurrent storyline. We've got Owen and Claire, who are now caring in a almost like family-like lifestyle out in the woods with the clone of an earlier Jurassic scientist that they're caring for and hiding from the world. So we've got that whole clan and, a whole bunch of Chris Pratt holding up his hand. Talk to the hand is some kind of dinosaur whisperer hand, which is a drinking game, I've heard, in some places. Every time he holds up his hand, take a drink. Wow. They do not have the chemistry that the original cast had. And frankly, my most enjoyable, their daughter, we'll call her, that they're caring for,
Maisie,
is kidnapped by the evil BioSyn company as well, and they have to go and get her back. So we've got two movies going on there. One of my favorite parts of Jurassic World Dominion was a new character, which was the rogue pilot played by DeWanda Wise, and she is the Han Solo of this movie. That woman has charisma. She is the not so nice person, but is really kind of nice. And when it comes down to it, saves the day. I could easily see her taking the next part of this franchise.
Oh, Jim, don't.
Along with the cloned girl, Maisie.
Jim,
and yeah, I just,
No,
she
Jim.
was the only highlight for me. I liked DeWanda Wise.
Take it, Bradford.
No, okay. It was a forced character and how they put her in because my big problem was you introduce actors like Justice Smith and Daniela Pineda in the previous film as Dr. Z. Rodriguez and Franklin Webb. You introduce them, and they have such a minor role in this film that they've moved on. They're on to different things.
Right.
Everyone's moved on. Saller's moved on. Grant's moved on. Everybody's moved on. Yeah, they come back. Why waste the talents, especially of Justice Smith? Because he's up and coming and doing so many things aside from Pokemon, which I really did enjoy that movie. But you waste him as a character to introduce, and if you have a rolling plot, why don't you continue to use those characters? And then you introduce a pilot, and nothing against her by any means at all. It's just you're introducing a whole new character.
When you've already got two casts going on.
When you already have two casts,
yes.
you introduce a new character when it's supposed to be the final film of this franchise. Supposed to be the final film of the franchise. You introduce her. I don't believe it. They'll wait like 5 years, like, oh, by the way, here we go again. But I understand introducing a new villain in terms of bios and like that. That's fine because those are whatever. You know what's going to happen at the end of the film. But introduce a new character that they're trying to push as a fan favorite, I didn't care for because you already have enough screen time between the six in terms of that. Then another one that I have an issue with in terms of how they just flip the character in a 180, which is B.D. Wong's character as Dr. Henry Wu. You have him as the villain in Jurassic World Fallen whatever.
Kingdom.
I don't even care anymore.
Jurassic 5.
Jurassic 5. Family still matters.
Yes. And in this movie, they try to make him the sympathetic character.
Sympathetic, they grow out his hair, and he's like, I just want to do what's right for the world. Maybe show us a moment that made him realize that he's dumb.
There was no reason for him having a complete change of mind and wanting to redeem himself.
A complete 180 when he was a villain. He was a villain, and you just throw him into this movie, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I just want to do what's right for the world. He's whiny. He's a whiny about locust. Oh, the locust destroying crops all of a sudden made you go, maybe what I'm doing's wrong. Not the whole, genetically modified programmed dinosaurs with laser beams or the thing that just like, it's hunting for sport. None of that. Yeah. None of that. But locusts all of a sudden make you do it. Come on.
All right, let's go to Jeremy Gover. Your take on Locusts as a movie you went to go see dinosaurs, you got more locusts. What did you think about that?
Well, I want to start with DeWanda Wise's character, her portrayal of Kayla Watts. She did, this is one of the best compliments I can give an actor. Okay. She did the best she could with what she was given.
I agree.
Okay?
Yes, I agree.
So, like, if you go back and watch Catwoman, for example, like Halle Berry is obviously an Academy Award-winning actor. She's incredible, okay? But she was given this piece of garbage script, and she did the best she could.
Yes.
And the film is horrible. This is the same ilk of that.
Yes.
The character didn't make any sense to me. There was no, that I recognized anyway, there was no kind of like reason for the personality turn. She didn't seem sympathetic when you first introduced to her.
Right?
So she looks at the girl coming out. She's like,
she starts to feel bad when she sees that a child
but there's
instead
no,
of
but
a
there's
dinosaur.
no mention of that. You're just supposed to assume. Oh, like it would have been nice if there was some sort of. So much dialogue laying out in the movie. It would have been nice if there was some sort of line about how I was kidnapped from my parents when I was 7. And, I mean, just anything that would be like, okay, I get it. You know,
I was kidnapped from my DNA too.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
they gave her a 1 second glimpse in which she's supposed to convey that she all of a sudden realizes this is bad.
After trafficking, an illegal operation, by the way.
Yes.
So anyway, I don't want to take too much time on this. The point is, I loved her acting. She was great.
More as DeWanda Wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
The character,
not so much.
Horrible.
Yes.
This is one of the things that I noticed as well too, compared to Jurassic Park 1, the OG.
Jurassic 1. We're now
Jurassic 1.
Yeah.
Watered down.
Yeah.
Because you think back to 1993 and how many people we see get destroyed.
Yeah.
In a PG-13 movie, to this where all of a sudden the camera just pans away, or that's a distanced shot of a dino eating a person.
Right.
There was zero. I'm not saying there has to be gore, but dinosaurs are eating people.
That should be a major source of scare.
There should be a little bit more of that, and instead of just the camera panning. It's a PG-13 film. You can get away with it because they definitely had language in this. There were 7-year-olds in my theater watching this, and not one scream or anything.
And they're yelling, "Give me blood!"
Yeah, just a little bit, because even in Jurassic World, so Jurassic 4, you have
second generation.
You have blood dripping from the trees.
Yeah.
From that dinosaur destroying people and everything. There's a little bit here. There's
severed limbs in the original. Yeah, there's so much.
There's none of that. It felt like a watered down version because it's supposed to be a thriller, a science fiction thriller, to where you're supposed to have jump scares, and there were some jump scares, like in the dark and everything. There were some, but there wasn't enough violence on humans, I think, for it to be a Jurassic Park film. They really, I think, watered it down to make it a little more approachable when it doesn't need to be. It's a PG-13 film. Horror movies are PG-13.
Yes.
And you see some stuff. Rip them to shreds, something. I mean,
I want to ask you guys this because to me, if the film was more like one part of the movie and they made the rest of the movie that exciting, we would have had a much better time. When Chris Pratt is being chased on a motorcycle by laser-induced velociraptors. I mean, it was a Jason Bourne movie. It was fun. It was wild. That was edge of your seat.
Turn your brain off. It's okay. There's a chase scene.
Exactly. And they're both, one's going to get onto the airplane with a jump of the motorcycle.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was fun. That was what I went to go see. Dangerous dinosaurs and some real peril. And this movie just lacked so much of it besides that midpoint in the movie.
I'll take that scene and run with it. Okay? So he's on a motorcycle, which can go, 80, 90 miles an hour?
At least, yeah.
Probably something like that. Okay?
Probably.
And these velociraptors can probably go about that.
Laser trained.
Laser motivated. Yeah.
It's like a cat chasing after it.
You got velociraptors running into stuff inexplicably, and then there's they made it like a motorcycle chase scene, like a Mission Impossible, Jason Bourne you mentioned. They mentioned that, but they made it with dinosaurs. The problem is there were so many, air quotes for radio, close calls that it was obnoxious. The getting on the plane part, that one part in the vacuum, was really cool. Okay.
Yes.
And then the motorcycle comes in, hits the front, and then takes out. That was pretty sweet. All right.
Fun.
But that's like a 5-second part. That's really cool. I am still lost at this moment. Why the new character is helping this couple she's never met?
Are we still on?
My brain is thinking that.
Oh,
I'm like, why is she risking everything? Is it a setup?
Really risking? Like she's risking her life, her plane
that
everything.
She loves? Yeah. Like everything. Like, why is she doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So while that's going on, my brain is preoccupied with why.
Yeah.
Because they haven't said anything.
Because she wasn't questioning anything either. She wasn't questioning why she was illegally.
She's like, sure, I'll
delivering stuff for anything.
We got to go. Okay.
All right. I'm going to let the cargo door down and just let it drag along as I try to take off.
So I'm sure I would have had a similar enjoyment of that one scene if I wasn't busy spending 80% of it thinking about why in the world is she helping.
At least it wasn't a 7-mile runway like in Fast and Furious. When they're waiting for the plane to take off. Like they actually had an end of the runway that they had to take off instead of just, this scene's lasted 15 minutes. Where's the end of the runway?
How long is this movie? It's an hour and a half. Okay, make it 17 minutes. Let's make it 17 minutes. 18. Let's go 18 for
Here's your budget. Make the dinos chase.
This is a jumping off point. This is something I've noticed in the last month. I am witnessing plane crash after plane crash after plane crash in everything I see, and the people walk away unscathed from things that they should normally be utterly dead.
Top Gun Maverick.
All right, we see it again when
twice, actually.
DeWanda Wise's character crashes her plane into Apple headquarters. And
in ice that is dangerous.
In ice, yes. And we also had, if you've been watching Stranger Things season 4, we have, people crashing in, Siberia in a plane and being destroyed. But I guess that snow was soft. And everybody walks away.
I'm okay. I'm more okay with that, though, because of action movie, science fiction, whatever. I'm more okay with surviving plane crash. I actually would have more of a problem with, why didn't you buckle your seatbelt? Like, I would have more of a problem with that in the car, where you're about to go in a chase. Just, zoop, click. That's all it would take. and you feel a little safer because you know you're probably going to roll over.
Click your ticket.
You have Ian Malcolm driving you. Also,
Oh, great.
the amount of forced nostalgia. It's not like
it's
what we got, I think, in Top Gun or what we would get in so many other films that are nostalgic. But just the whole, button that button, Ian. Like, they made him button his shirt because they're like,
Yeah.
Like, okay. I mean, you're forcing that. And then the Barbasol can being in the biosins.
Made no sense to me.
Made no sense. Then you
They just put it in there because.
Yeah, then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? We're going to make him die the same way Newman died.
Yeah.
And Dilophosaurus is just going to come in. And
Reggie. Don't forget that. Remember, we talked about that in the
Sorry,
Jurassic Park episode.
Reggie
D. Dilophosaurus.
Sorry, Reggie.
And it was good to see him back, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, Reggie and family comes in and destroys Biosyn Big Bad Guy. And it's like, all right. But, okay, I will say this, though. With Chris Pratt's character came in and basically grabbed Reggie Dilophosaurus, sorry, by the
He
neck.
deserves your respect. I appreciate you using his full name.
when trying to go after Claire. Oh, that was cool. Like, that was action movie, badass type of thing. I was okay with that. And I'm okay with suspending belief for those types of things because it's like, okay, cool. Because we thought all of a sudden, what's going to happen? Is she going to get sprayed with the venom and everything too? I was fine with
Notice
that.
he said venom and not poison because we corrected that on the Jurassic Park episode.
If you would like to be tortured with the explanation of the difference between
Tortured?
poison and
Jim?
venom, listen to one of our previous episodes in which we discussed the original Jurassic
We or
Park
me?
at length.
No, we all discussed it.
And then you
just
made fun
brought
of me
up
for
that.
Yes.
One of the things that bothered me about the action, you talk about like how you kind of suspend belief for action movies and all that's fair. But what I don't like is how some of these are convenient to the character. Like it's like they kind of like, hey, this would be a really cool scene. How do we get him out of it? I don't know. Like kind of like that.
Motorcycle sitting right there.
Right. Well, that. So when Maisie is in that kind of like a iron ladder tunnel thing, right? And the T-Rex has this T-Rex, right? Has the whatever the other
Is it Allosaurus, Gigantus or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he's got his jaws around the metal.
Giganotosaurus.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, nerd. So if you, he just fact checked me, which is fine because I didn't know. But when the jaws are around that metal container and she's in there and she's screaming, she did a great job acting, by the way. When she does that, and then all of a sudden the dinosaur rips it off there and it's like in half, and she miraculously is exposed but hasn't moved at all.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Like
that was your oh come on moment.
there was one of 27. Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
okay.
Yeah, it was not good. So it's things like that take me out of a film. So I can suspend belief with the best of them when I'm in a movie like
fair.
that, in an action movie especially. But when you do that, when it's not like there was an obvious break before, or she's moving up while it's being ripped off, like something else.
Yeah.
I just lose all. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
All right, let's transition to scores.
Yes, please.
For this film, Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Wait.
Yes.
I thought we were going to talk about the music. You said score.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Oh, God.
What?
Because Justin Bradford demands it, let's talk about the score of Jurassic World Dominion. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, if there's one thing I enjoy, it's Jurassic Park music because it's just fun and it did help set some scenes more than anything else. Michael Giacchino scored it, and if there's a workhorse in movie music right now, it is Michael Giacchino. Here's the thing. Here's the movies that he is scoring or has scored just this year alone. Okay, Thor: Love and Thunder, Lightyear, Jurassic World Dominion, The Batman, and I'll go ahead and throw in Spider-Man: No Way Home.
The man's a factory.
Like he is a workhorse. Like
that's amazing.
That's a lot of work, especially for big time movies. So I just want to throw it to him because I love the music. And yes, he's not John Williams, but he is scoring some major films with some really well known music. When you think about Jurassic Park, having to take all those iterations from John Williams, but make it feel your own. And obviously music in Spider-Man has Danny Elfman vibes from before. People always think of that from the early 2000s. The Batman, what's the music going to make that movie? So just wanted to throw that out there. And Nagover's still staring at me. I don't think he's blinked since I started this as well. But he's just a workhorse.
He's scared. There's occasionally where we bring up movie scores where, we're afraid that you may not stop and we may just have to walk out of the room and let you
keep going
and come back after maybe getting a taco.
Music is important.
Sounds delicious.
Music is important. Go over, what did you have to say?
No, it is important. I just wanted to say one last thing, and that is that the movie we talked about the length earlier.
Yes.
It felt long to me.
It did.
It was long, but I mean, there's a difference between it is long, like Endgame, for example, is like 3 hours, right? And it feels like 2:15. Like that's a completely different thing than this movie is 2.5, 2:45, whatever it was, and it felt every bit of that, if not longer.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
I agree.
That
I
means
totally agree.
big
pacing problem. You have a too much dialogue problem, as you've already stated.
Terrible.
Yes. So let's go to scores. I want to tell you
Scores
that
plural, not score like music score.
I am
Scores
telling you
plural.
about what I'm giving this movie as a rating, and I'm giving it 2 ratings. I am
2 ratings?
I'm mad at this movie because it made me give 2 different kinds of ratings. What I'm now going to do, summer popcorn blockbuster score, okay, and an actual critical review score.
Well, that sounds like an excuse to me.
It is. I am totally copping out.
At least you own it.
I am owning it.
At least you own it.
So for some thrills and some fun and an escape from ungodly temperatures, go have fun. Have an 8.5. If you totally turn your brain off, I'm giving it 8.5. If I give it a critical, artistic merit score, which is the real score for me, Jurassic World Dominion is a 5. And that's generous. I'm a little generous on that one because I think the movie's a mess. Justin Bradford, what did you give this movie?
So I don't need 2 scores for this one, sir.
You're better.
But to throw in one final point while I'm giving my score too, the final battle between Giganotosaurus, T-Rex, and Therizinosaurus was unnecessary. And that actually pulled me out to drop the score. Because all of a sudden, what they're doing a team up? What is it? Transformers?
Sure.
So
So you had a higher score going into the last few minutes of this movie.
Slightly by a 0.5.
Okay.
By a 0.5. Because of that, I'm sitting there and it's just more and more. I'm rolling my eyes like the score's dropping as we go, kind of thing. So for me, given the length, given the plot holes, which plot holes can be fine and turn your brain off movie, and the dialogue being bleh and everything like that, it's a 5.5 for me.
Okay. Jeremy Gover,
All right.
what do you give this movie?
3.5. It's
Ouch.
a 3.5 for me. It wasted the characters. And I mean the reunion characters. Like you're going to bring back these legacy characters from the first trilogy, or at least the first film, and that's what you give them? It's just not, it didn't do them any service. And then the second thing is they didn't know the characters, the ones they even had. It didn't feel like they knew the characters very well, inside and out. They took a lot of creative liberties in the story. We mentioned Kayla Watts, the character Kayla Watts, and how she all of a sudden she was a heel and then she turned to a baby face all of a sudden, and there was no explanation why. And you had to just assume it was because of the child. And well, was it really? Is there more than like all these things are happening? And they didn't explain any of that when they've over-explained everything else. It didn't make any sense. It was disjointed. It was way too long, and it was unnecessarily long. They didn't have to fill out the entire timesheet to get everything in. It was just unnecessarily long. Know what you are. You're a big budget dinosaur movie, and it wasn't about dinosaurs. It was about dino locusts. It was about.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, what?
I didn't mean to interrupt. There's no real conclusion aside from we're going to live in harmony, except they're the real predator now and the humans are the prey. What?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much wrong with this, and I feel bad for the actors. I'm sure they got a nice paycheck, and that's great for them.
Yeah. Sure.
But I feel bad for the actors that had to come back to this. Chris Pratt is Star-Lord, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
He's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, A-list star, and he has to put up with this garbage. I feel bad for him. Not good is what I'm saying.
Let's go feed some dinosaurs in the park.
No, yeah, like the little girl is feeding a dinosaur. She's going to get snatched up. Just like a goose flying with the pterodactyl's going to get snatched up. That's freaking prey. You kidding me? They're not going to live in harmony. No, the pterodactyl's going to eat. Whatever's flying is a predator, it's going to eat. They're going to eat. Give me some gore. So, as people have probably figured out, I really enjoy Marvel, and I think most of us here do enjoy the Marvel superhero films.
Love me some Marvel.
Yeah, love me some Marvel. We're those people. We're the target market for it. But I believe Jim has prepared a question regarding Marvel for us.
I'd like to know, what is your maybe top 3 best Marvel movie post-credit scenes? The scenes we all stay in that theater for because they're going to give us a little something. Mm-hmm. Give me your best ones. I'm going to say Justin Bradford. I want to hear your best ones.
And the thing with these two is there's some divisiveness amongst fans on whether they prefer the goofy ones sometimes, or do they want the ones that are serious, or the ones that are setting up the next film, or is it a trailer? Because we've gotten a couple that are more trailer now, like the Doctor Strange trailer being aired with Spider-Man. So it's very curious to see what fans like. I just went for what my favorites were based on what I think it was either setting up or just made me smile and laugh.
Okay.
So my first one, I'm going to kind of go in theatrical release order.
Sure.
With this. So my first one is the Avengers shawarma scene.
It's top of my list.
It's not even close to mine.
Really?
I figured we're going to have very different takes on this, Gopher.
Yep.
Jeremy, you don't love the fact that they've just saved New York City?
I think it's great.
And then they're all so exhausted and just shoving food in their mouth in this destroyed, like, little mom-and-pop restaurant.
And because they referenced it, hey, did anybody else see that shawarma place? Have you ever had shawarma? And the fact that they serve it at Disneyland as well. They have a shawarma cart at Disneyland. You can get shawarma. And it's just, it's a Funko Pop set as well, too,
Yes,
where you have
it is.
each one is an individual piece that connects together to make a set. So they've created something even bigger out of this because they have it branded as an Avengers and Marvel thing, with it being in a theme park, being Funko Pop set like that. And it's just a great way to end phase one, I thought, too, because it made people laugh, because we didn't need anything else after that. We just had the huge battle end. We know there's more coming with Thanos, but it just was a perfect little cap on Avengers.
I like it that they're so tired. They're not even talking. And we don't care. It's almost better because they're not.
There's no dialogue at all.
They're just shoving.
And the shawarma workers are cleaning up around them, sweeping, trying to clean up whatever mess is there that they can't just sweep up. It's going to take a construction crew, and they have brooms.
Yeah, the whole place was destroyed by super beings from another universe, you know?
But shawarma.
Okay. Mine is Infinity War, when Fury gets dusted and calls Captain Marvel.
That's one of mine.
Yes.
Is it really?
The pager.
The pager.
So good.
Because at that point, we did not know it was Captain Marvel. We didn't know.
Right.
We have to remember that so many of these things that we didn't know was not released yet. The Captain Marvel like that was going to happen in that manner.
So he sends the pager to the page to we don't know.
We didn't know at the time.
We
and
just see
then
the
we started
logo
looking. Then we saw
flash on the pager.
And then we had to know the logo to go and look that up. So that's why I really like that too, because
That's a good one.
this craziness is happening.
Yep.
Oh my God, who did he just reach out to with a pager?
Right.
Yeah, I loved it. That's why
pretty
it's one of mine.
fantastic. So
Yes.
that's
Okay,
That's mine.
excellent.
Again, these aren't in any particular order for me,
Yeah.
but that's on my list.
I'm
Sure.
surprised we had overlapping.
So am I.
All right, well, this is Jim, and I'm going to say mine also involves Samuel L. Jackson in a Marvel movie post-credit scene. It is in the original Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Because what we see is, okay, this isn't just a one-off. We're starting a universe. And so I guess what that symbolizes for the rest of movie making for the next 12, 14 years, it was amazing. It's a super important post-credit scene.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a great one.
Oh, yeah, it is a great one. And that didn't make mine just because, while it's great, it wasn't one of my favorites, but I pretty much enjoy most of them anyways. I'm that kind of person. So, okay. Then since we had a similar one, Gover, you go next.
Okay. Far From Home, the J. Jonah Jameson reveal of
Where he says,
it says
everybody, Superman,
Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And then shows his picture, and then it's and then the credits roll. That one is unbelievable. One, because it was the return of J. Jonah Jameson.
Right.
That's number one, obviously. Number two is, as we found out later, it literally hands off to the next film.
Yes.
Like, it's that scene to begin the next film, and then they go from there. So it's just so great. It's so awesome. It wasn't expected.
No.
And it was really, really cool. So J. Jonah Jameson and Far From Home.
And they updated the style of that too, where he's like a vlogger at home in his own home created studio and not in some press room and everything too.
Right.
At that time, he does graduate to that,
right?
But he's just this at-home
He's
YouTuber.
the guy in the basement,
kind of thing.
with a camera set up
and theories.
Yeah, and a lot of theories. Nice choice.
Jim, what you got?
I'm going to go with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh.
But not the one that sets up the next one. I'm going to go the beautiful, muse-like partnership that Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell have. Bruce Campbell given a spell during the movie with Doctor Strange to slap himself over and over and over and over for the end of, for what he doesn't even know how long. And then they cut to him after post-credits and he just says, "It's over," meaning his spell is over. He's not slapping himself, but he's also like getting meta on the movie.
Yeah.
The movie's over.
But I'll add another wrinkle to that. That is the lead actor in the Evil Dead movies.
Yes.
And in that movie, in one of the movies, he had to fight his own hand.
Oh, a level I hadn't even...
Oh, yeah, take it to another level.
He had to fight his own
that.
hand as a Sam Raimi movie.
Yes.
And he had to fight his own hand in that movie to keep it...
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And then, so it's a nod to that as well.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
See, I missed
Yes.
it. Oh, you made it even better. It's going up higher on the list.
All right,
Justin
Bradford.
what do you got?
Okay, so since we both had the pager one, go over. My third one was Captain America Winter Soldier, where at the end it introduces Wanda and Quicksilver leading up into Ultron. And why this means so much is because we're getting mutants without them saying mutants. We're getting, what did they use? Gifts, treasures? No, what was the word they used? Oh, my gosh, I can't even remember the word right now. But it shows Wanda with her Scarlet Witch abilities and Quicksilver running.
Yeah.
And they look very, well, not in the best shape as well. But I think that introduces a whole new era because we knew they were going to have to do something to introduce mutants in some form or fashion. But at that time, they did not have Fox yet.
They didn't have the deal.
They didn't have the rights, so they couldn't
with
say the
20th
word
Century
mutant.
Fox. Yeah.
So that right there, I think, was a big deal, especially now when you look at how big Wanda has been to the MCU with WandaVision, with Multiverse of Madness. Wanda's been a huge player in this too, and as it's been discussed in multiple times before, Wanda could have killed Thanos herself. He was saved by rain of fire.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, okay, yeah, there's several characters you think could have, taken care of him, but it didn't work out that way because it would be a terrible movie. But yeah, you're right.
My third and final one is Morbius. Just kidding.
Oh, my God.
It's Ant-Man and the Wasp when Scott Lang gets stuck in the quantum realm.
Because
because it indicates it's a handoff in a sense to, it's done out of order, but it's a handoff to the dusting in Infinity War at the end of the
connects them.
Yeah, it connects the two. And he is then stuck in there for his resurrection, so to speak, air quotes for radio, in Endgame. And it sets up Ant-Man and the Quantum
Mania.
Thank you. Quantum Mania film as well, which is coming up when we're going to get introduced to Kang the Conqueror. So all that stuff is in that probably, minute and a half scene? Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Right. It sets up how they ultimately defeat Thanos, which is, they found out, it's
time travel.
Time is how we do it.
That's right.
Yeah. So, pretty important. Nice choices.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, no, Morbius is a joke. I wrote that down because I want to make sure I remembered it. Because if you have not seen Morbius, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, they bring back this the Vulture, and do this ridiculous thing that doesn't make any sense to the rest of the film. It's almost like they had to scramble to do it. And
he was in the trailers too.
No, right.
And they save him for an end credit.
So
you put him in the trailer.
There's no surprise.
But then Morbius. He asks Morbius to. He's like, "Hey, you want to team up against Spider-Man?" Sure, I'm listening. And that's the whole. It's freaking stupid. So
what does Morbius have against Spider-Man?
Right. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to make sure I put that one because it's probably the worst one, even though it's not MCU.
You just triggered me, dude.
I know. Sorry.
At the end.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
That's what I do.
Why?
You've known me for a long enough time.
It's like you made a bad pass at the blue line.
Okay.
Can I bring up one more point about the Shawarma Palace scene in the Avengers post-game scene? Did a little checking before the show today. That end credit scene was filmed after the red carpet premiere of that movie.
Really?
They filmed it the next day and added it.
Probably because they were all in the same place at one time is probably why they did that.
Exactly. So, so for the people that went to go see it at the premiere, the red carpet premiere, they did not see that end credit
That's
scene.
amazing.
Yeah. So There you go.
Nice little tidbit there.
Win yourself a little bar bet with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then check the Googles and then collect your winnings.
Yes, please.
Well, thanks for hanging around with us, yelling at each other and laughing for the Untitled Film Project Podcast. Look at Jurassic World Dominion. Hope you enjoyed it. Love your takes on it. I am Jim Chandler.
Justin Bradford. Follow us on social media.
Jeremy Kagover, and they can follow us at
Untitled Film Project. And then make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple, on iHeart, on wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe. Like, comment.
And anything you don't like about what we said, we're big boys. We can take it. Let us know your opinions.